Good afternoon. What a pleasure it is to be here. First, I want to say thank you for allowing me to serve as your mayor. It is truly a privilege to be here before you. Believe it or not, this is my fourth opportunity to deliver this State of the City address to you. And it's changed a lot over the last 4 years. My first year, I focused primarily on what's happening with the city of Longview. Statistics, figures, boring, boring, boring. And I got that. I was new at it then, though. My second year, I told stories about amazing individuals volunteering and making an impact in organizations all across our community. And I was very proud of those individuals that has spurred on more and more of that community pride and community effort that makes Longview so wonderful. Last year, I changed the format around a little bit. And I walked around the room and I highlighted the importance of every business and organization that was in attendance. I did that because I believe the state of the city is directly correlated with the success of business and organizations just like yours. What do we do as business, as government, as individuals? It's all impacts the success of our community today and for years to come. Last year, I enjoyed that. It was a nightmare for our media folks. We had 160-something slides and note cards, and I had a little place I was supposed to stand, and if I was in the right spot, they were telling me to do this, and it was a nightmare. But I really enjoyed it, and I'll do it again soon once all y'all are gone. We get new businesses here that won't recognize I did that the time before, so I'm looking forward to that. But this year, I wanted to change it up again. I want to focus on a very important segment of our community, our kids, which is our future. So I invited students from Longview, Spring Hill, Pine Tree, and Hallsville to talk with me at City Hall. And I had grades 1 through 12. I had first, second, third graders from Hallsville. Wait till you see how cute these kids were. I had 4th, 5th, and 6th graders from Spring Hill. I had 7th, 8th, and 9th graders from Pine Tree and had 10th, 11th, and 12th graders from Longview. And first off, I want to thank all 4 of our superintendents for allowing this to happen, because I made 4 phone calls to each superintendent and I said, here's what I need. I need 3 or 4 kids from this grade level to come to City Hall to sit down with me and talk. I need you to get them there on a certain day at a certain time and then take them back. And every one of them said, we're in. That's the collaboration we have with our school districts. That's why we have such wonderful school systems here in this community, because when we ask, they respond every single time. And I can't thank them enough for what they did. We had these kids sit down in council chambers at the mayor's chair and the city council chairs, and we did some videos of them. I know I had a blast. I think they had a pretty good time too. So I want you to watch these videos and then we'll talk about it.
I call this meeting to order. I call this meeting to order. I think I did it. You did. I call this meeting to order. I can't remember all the words.
I call this meeting to order.
I call this meeting to order. Wait.
I call this meeting to order.
I call this meeting to order.
I call this meeting to order.
Okay, so why did I do this? It's simple. I wanted to hear what these kids thought about Longview, what they love, what they want to see improved. I thought it'd be great for us to hear from them for a change, so we can be thinking about what we can be doing to prepare Longview for their future, because that's the future of Longview, what you see on these screens today. We started by asking these kids some questions about some of the things that they love about Longview and East Texas, especially the little kids. Everything with these little kids is new, exciting, and amazing. I think sometimes as adults, we become a little bit complacent. We need to remember all the things to be thankful for here in our community, things that we take for granted sometimes. Because I know I do, but when I listen to these kids and I see their pure hearts, I realize that's where it is, and that's what it's all about. So let's see what you think about this next little segment of videos.
Pasados. They have little prizes for quarters.
Butcher shop. They have great desserts and great hamburgers.
Jack's Natural Foods. It's just, you're being aware of your health and you feel clean after eating it.
Golden Corral, because it's an all-you-can-eat buffet.
On the border, because they have like the best nachos of all time.
Chicken Express, because it has great food. I love their chicken tenders. They have great sweet tea.
Man, you should be on a commercial for them.
Little Thai House. Delicious, and it shows that we have diversity in Longview and that we're accepting of all people.
Jalapeno tree, because I get chili enchiladas and ice cream on the way out. The Gorman Trail, I ride my bike on it. It's pretty long and it's a nice, smooth ride. The air park, it has soccer fields and it has a playground.
My favorite park when I was growing up was in my grandmother's neighborhood, Warwick, and it's called Aiken Park, or we called it Longhorn Park because of the little swings on the longhorns. So.
The splash pad, because you can get really wet and getting wet.
I kind of hope Longview doesn't become too big of a city. I kind of like the feel that we have right now. Or we still have a lot of things that bigger cities have, but we still have kind of a smaller town feel, which I like.
All of the activities that you can do in Longview. Downtown life. We have the opportunity to have food trucks around here at different locations. Hot air balloons.
I love the community about Longview. I've lived here since I was born, and so I've seen my family connected with other families.
The great citizens.
Diversity.
I would say the scenery. Because driving through Longview and you get to the really kind of countryside, and then you have the urban. And over in the countryside, it's really pretty because you see all the trees, and then especially when the sun's about to set, it hits the trees just nice enough to one of those photography pictures. You would love it.
Everything in Longview is very convenient, and if you need to go to the grocery store, 20-minute drive maximum versus 45 minutes of traffic.
I like that most of our communities are very safe. There's really good people, and people are helping each other more.
We have a great diversity of people and thought and backgrounds and all of these things that we kind of just put together in Longview, and I think that's what makes Longview so special.
Don't those kids make you proud of where you live? I know they do me. Hearing from these kids is such a good reminder to us that we have so many great things to celebrate and treasure about our community. It's just a great place to live. Look at the restaurants we have. We have great chain restaurants. We have great local restaurants. We have diversity and all that. I laugh every time I watch that video. Here we go again. Sorry about that. Because I look at these kids and I listen to what they have to say, and then I also get pretty hungry when I watch it too. Did you hear the young man's statement about the Borman Trail? That was Travis Allen from Spring Hill. He said, I like the Borman Trail. I can ride my bike on it. It's pretty long, and it's a nice, smooth ride. Well, I have some pretty good news for Travis. That trail is fixing to get a lot bigger and a lot better and a lot longer. Thanks to funding from LEEDCO and from grants we got from the state of Texas, matching grants, Guthrie Trail is now under construction, and it will connect Paul Borman Trail to Cargill Trail, resulting in more than 10 miles of continuous trail systems here in the community. How nice will it be that we can go on a trail system like that? Is there anyone in this room, don't be bashful, raise your hand if you have never been on either Paul Borman Trail or Cargill Long Trail or one of the trails in Longview. Raise your hand if you haven't been on one of those. Very few. Imagine what it's going to be like when we have 10 miles of that to go through our community. All I can say is that is a huge win, and I thank LEEDCO and I thank TxDOT and all that for doing those things for us, because I think that is going to be a huge improvement in our community over the next number of years. Speaking of trail improvements, the recently approved Parks Bond provides $24.71 million to upgrade our park system. Lear Park will get $8.8 million, which will include AstroTurf for the soccer fields, lighting, additional baseball and softball fields that are very important because those are revenue generators. It not only helps our leagues that play out there, but I don't know if you realize how many people come to Longview as a destination to do sports tourism. And sports tourism is a big factor in tax revenues and dollars that we get back in our community because people come here, they spend their money, they stay in our hotels, they buy our gas, they even buy cars occasionally, according to John Ray. They shop, they do the things, they eat in our restaurants, and you know what? They go home, and we're happy to see them go, and they leave their money behind. That money generates a ton of income for our community. As a matter of fact, Lear Park, over the past 12 or so years that it's been in existence, has generated over $12 million a year in economic impact every year to our community. It only costs us $12 million to build the park. So you can see the dividends that pays, and when we upgrade that, it will be an upgraded addition where we can even gain more revenue through this opportunity here. Broughton Rec Center will get $5.7 million in renovations, which it sorely needs. That's a great area in South Longview that needs a renovated park and a renovated building, and it's high time that happens. Cargo Trail gets a resurfacing for $1.35 million. Our Arboretum gets $1.5 million to start their process. If you haven't been out there, you should go and see what's going on. It's going to be another show place for Longview that will once again set us apart as a destination city for people who want to come and see what we have to offer. And we're offering more and more and more every single year. Our other parks in town will get $7.3 million in renovations and upgrades, which are so sorely needed, not only for the quality of life, but as I said earlier, to bring in revenues for our community. So, you know, when these kids were talking about something they really liked about Longview High School student Nitin Rangu said, "I kind of hope Longview doesn't become too big of a city. I kind of like the feel that we have right now. We still have a lot of things that bigger cities have, but we still have a smaller town feel." Can you relate to that? I know I can, because I've lived in two big cities before, and that's why I'm back in Longview, because this is the small town feel I like, but we have plenty to do. You know, I don't think Nitin was exactly talking about the arts in particular, but I think he was referring to things like that, because we have a great local arts community. Many of you have already seen that we have gone to this thing called Arts Longview, which is a collaborative effort of our local arts organizations currently working together to obtain a designation as a cultural arts district by 2019. Many thanks to the organizations that are involved in doing that, and I'll put a list of them up here: the Artsview Children's Theater, Great County Historical Museum, Turner University and Belcher Center, Longview Museum of Fine Arts, Longview World of Wonders, Longview Symphony, East Texas Symphonic Band, and the Longview Ballet Theater. Now, hold on. What impresses me about that more than anything is how many listed organizations are up there that are dedicated to supporting the arts in our community. That's a big thing. A lot of communities our size and even larger don't have this many organizations that are putting their monies and their time and efforts together to support the arts, because that's another form of opportunity for quality of life and people to come here and exhibit and see what we have and spend their money here. So I see that as a great, great collaborative effort, and I appreciate all these organizations that are involved in doing this. Keep up the good work. So the whole point of this, Longview, is we have a lot to be thankful for. At least I feel so. At the end of the video, Ejehe Ahankadan said, "We have a great diversity of people, of thoughts and backgrounds. All of these things are put together in Longview, and I think that's what makes Longview so special." I really couldn't agree with her more. She summed it up in really one statement. We have a very special place here, and it's because the people in our community, you that are sitting here in this room, it's because of you and what you do and what you bring and what you support and where you spend your money and how you spend your time. That's what makes Longview so special. Now, in addition to asking these kids what they like to do, this is probably the funniest part of the video, and we can't really show you all of it because we just can't. But we wanted to see how familiar these kids were with city government here in Longview. So some of them did pretty well. And if we could have a blooper reel, this would be where it started. So take a look at this one.
80,000 people.
100.
23,000?
50,000. 60,000.
15,000.
About $1 billion.
110,000. 21,000.
7 million. 100,000.
100 and 1,000. Okay, that'd be 1,100 then, that's what you're saying.
$9,200. 100 million.
100 million.
100. 1,000 and million 100.
Say 45 million.
9,000. 90,000.
100,000?
How about 164 million
And you use that every year?
every year? And we use every penny of it.
Big, isn't
It's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
Taxes. Property tax.
Maybe on goods.
What you think?
Jesus.
Jesus? That's an awfully sweet answer. But unfortunately, Jesus doesn't give us any money, but he allows us the ability to go out and make money sometimes, doesn't he? Because he's always good to us. That's the sweetest answer ever.
Put people to work.
Help our community grow.
Make sure the town's working perfectly.
I think the most important thing that they do is just keep a good relationship with the community.
Upgrade our town. Help our citizens make the best choice and make the best choices for Longview.
Just making things run smoothly and securing the future of Longview.
You should boss people around.
I think they're supposed to be doing like what they are right now, taking people's like opinions and desires and seeing how they can improve the city.
I think y'all should make it to where school is only 4 hours.
Oh yeah. No, I love school. You can't do this to me.
2 hours of PE and 2 hours of lunch.
No. He can't do this to me, Mom.
I honestly cannot tell you how much we laughed at that segment. And if you think that was funny, you should see some things we did not put in there. It is just, but it's wonderful to see the purity and the honesty in their hearts and just it's just so good. And by the way, our population is a little roughly 80,000+. We have a new census coming out in April of 2020. So any guesses of what you think we might be in April 2020? I hope we're way up. We'll see. But these are pretty smart kids. It does cost a lot of money to run our city. I guess you all realize that, right? Not $100 though. And I want to take this time to thank our current city manager, Keith Bonds, and our prior city manager, David Willard, helping us get through several years of very, very difficult budgets. When the economy began to slow in 2014 and 2015, our sales tax dropped significantly. Our property tax revenues flattened, and yet we were able to maintain services for the community without raising taxes and just by tightening our belts, even when it hurt. You know, oil and gas revenues are big in East Texas, and when those revenues are down, we suffer from our income level. You know, a majority of our money comes from property taxes and sales tax revenues, and so when those are down, we do have to figure out where that money's going to come from, because we don't have a tree growing in the back with money on it, as some people do think we do, but we don't. So I want to thank Keith and David for getting us through those really lean times and getting us back on track where we are now, because we're in a good place now, and I'll talk to that in just a minute. But I believe in using our tax dollars judiciously and effectively. This year, here, use a little pie chart, our general fund budget is approximately $69 million. 2/3 of that goes towards police and fire, public safety. The remaining 1/3 is for streets, parks, development services, community services, and administration. Our total budget, which includes sanitation, water, sewer, and debt service, comes to approximately $160+ million a year. Looking ahead, I'm very optimistic about the direction the local economy is taking and what that means for our city budget. Our latest sales tax numbers are trending upward at approximately 10% better than previous years. Now, what does that 10% mean to us as a city? It means about $165,000 a month that we're seeing that we didn't plan for and didn't have last year. Do you realize we had 17 consecutive months of decreased sales tax from March of 2015 to July of 2016, which cost us $2.2 million in revenue. For a city that runs as we do, on a tight budget, $2 million is huge. Judge Stout will attest to that. It's hard to recover from a $2 million loss, but we did. From March of 15 to August of 2017, we had a 30-month period where we lost $2.57 million. Once again, those are big hits to our city budget, but with proper management, proper budgeting, proper spending, we were able to pull through that. And now we're on a 15-month positive increase in sales tax revenues for the last 15 months, which is a testament to how our economy has rebounded and how we've diversified into doing more things than just relying on oil and gas, bringing new industry here, new jobs, and we've received $2.3 million in revenues above what we had expected. So we're rebounding, and that's so important for our community. Talking about new things, I'm optimistic about the direction the local economy has taken. It means our city budget is doing well. But let's talk about the ways that we're utilizing those funds. Let's talk about the Dollar General Distribution Center. One of the biggest things we've done in Longview in a number of years. It's a 1 million square foot facility out on George Ritchie Road. There's 400 new jobs and a $700 million economic impact in Longview over the next 25 years. Did y'all get that number? That wasn't some kid making it up. $700 million over the next 25 years that we would not have had one dime of that had we not brought Dollar General to Longview. I can't even bring myself to understand that number, but it's a big number, and I know this, it will help everyone sitting in this room to help defer your taxes over the next 25 years. And think about this. To get them here, we had to give them an incentive, obviously. That's part of bringing a company like that to Longview. So we gave them a tax break, which I'm happy to do because we're getting money we would have never had. Think about in 25 years when that all goes away, think about what we'll be doing then. Whoever's in this place right here and that city manager's job will have a lot of extra money in their pocket because of this Dollar General in 25 years. That's forward thinking for our community for 25 years from now. Let's talk about the petroleum building. We provided a $600,000 loan to the petroleum building. We had an opportunity to invest $600,000 into a $10 million project and get it back. It's a loan. It's not a gift. We do a lot of gifts in this town. We do a lot of agreements where we do incentives with companies. We have no chance of ever getting that money back. This is a loan where we're going to get that money back. Plus, it's going to be a cool new building, which infuses economic impact into our downtown area, which we desperately need. It provides much-needed housing, which we desperately need. This was a no-brainer to me. It transformed a community eyesore into living spaces in the heart of downtown. Hopefully this will be a kickstart to some more economic development downtown, which we want. We want to see downtown thrive and grow, because when a downtown doesn't grow, a city does not grow. So we have to ensure that that happens in our downtown area. Let's talk about the recent bond election. As you all know, it was $104 million, and that's a lot of money. But it's a lot of money for a lot of very good projects that are going to go on in our community. The projects were selected by the Comprehensive Plan Advisory Committee based on projects within the Longview Comprehensive Plan and the Capital Improvements Projects list. And I can tell you, this bond election, which was a huge number, the largest in the city of Longview's history, 63% voted in favor of it. This wasn't a small victory. This was a large, large victory for the community, and I think the voice of Longview has been heard loud and clear. The voice of Longview says we want to move forward and bring things to this community that we haven't had and make Longview a better place to live. And I applaud you for that. I will applaud you. And let me state, this wasn't in a small voter turnout election where you could actually maybe sway that vote. This was 18,000 plus voters voted in this election, over 50% of our registered voters, which is the largest turnout I've ever known of since I've been around here. So people got out and voted, and they voted what they wanted, and I think it was very obvious the direction the city wants to go. And so, as mayor and council, that's what we will do. We will take this city where you tell us that's where we want to go. And so I'm very pleased that it was a very overwhelming victory for this election. Whether you like it or didn't like it, democracy worked in this situation. That's why we live in a democratic society. I know that the police and firemen will be very pleased because they will have a new facility that will support their public safety operations. I know the people that live in Stamper Park will be pleased because we're getting that Stamper Park training facility out of their neighborhood. So those are very important things to help our community grow. I know there are big improvements coming for Real Road, for Fairmont, Cotton, and Marbley Avenue, all major arteries in our community that need upgrades and need to be looking great for people coming in and out of our city. So those are all things that make us a more attractive community to live in. And I know that the park improvements we've already discussed will pay dividends as quality of life because tourism is a big revenue stream for our community. So now the real work begins, and patience will be required because these projects will be implemented over a number of years. The next step will be to provide priorities and direction for which and where we start. And that will begin tomorrow night, as a matter of fact. We're having a combined meeting tomorrow night with the City Council and the Comprehensive Plan Advisory Committee at City Hall at 5:30. Everyone is welcome to come and voice your opinion because now it's time to prioritize. That whole $104 million will not be spent and used in 1 year. It will be used over a number of years, so we have to decide what goes where and how we spend it and how the taxation will come about from that. So if you're interested, come tomorrow night, City Council Chambers, 5:30. We'd love to have you. With that bond election, our annual city budget, we have a big responsibility to make sure we use these funds efficiently and effectively and judiciously. It's our job as the mayors and the council to work with city managers and the departments to make sure that happens. Because it's your money, and we're going to do with it what you told us to do with it, and we will do it to the best of our abilities. Let's talk about the future of Longview. I love the question about what do you think the mayor and city council should be doing. Didn't you hear what Longview High School student Peyton Scott said? Doing what they're doing now, taking people's opinions and desires and seeing how they can improve the city. I hope that's what we're doing because that's what you elect us to do. You elect us to listen to you and then follow through with what your desires are. And if we're not doing that, you need to tell us that because that's what each one of us is there for. This table over here, I'm so proud to work with these 6 individuals and our city manager and our departments because I feel like we're on a direction now that is very easy to follow. We ask, we listen, and then we act, and I think that's very important. I agree wholeheartedly with what Peyton said. It's one of the reasons when people reach out to me, I encourage them to talk to their city council representatives because I feel like they need to have a relationship with who represents them in their district. I can, but I won't handle every problem. I want the council representatives to handle the problems for their districts and take care of the people that live in their districts who voted them into place because that's their job. And I'm there to oversee and help and make sure things go well. But I want that relationship to be between the community, the districts, and each city council representative. I think that's what makes us a stronger city government because I listen here from the community all day, every day. I have virtual town hall meetings. I've hosted book clubs, which have been really fun and exciting and way out of my comfort zone. In case you haven't been to one of those, you need to join one of those. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Messenger. Every single day, I receive information from the community, and we answer those every day when we can. And I try to get to them the same day, and I try not to go to bed before those things are handled every day because we are concerned about what you have to say. If it's important to you, then it's got to be important to us, no matter how we look at it. So I just want you to know we want to hear from our community, not just during citizen comment at our council meetings. I believe we should be addressing the problems and the immediate needs of our town today while always keeping an eye on tomorrow. So we ask these kids to dream about improvements for the future. Here's their response.
A roller coaster. Maybe like a water park. Outdoor movie theater.
Flowers.
Flowers? Well, believe it or not, we're fixing to have an arboretum.
I built an indoor tennis court.
A zip line through the whole town.
I think that would be so awesome.
Me
Yeah,
too.
we just stop and then maybe have like stops. You could just jump out and go to the mall or jump out and have something to eat and get back on the zip line and go someplace else.
Missing wells that would actually give you what you wanted.
If I had $100, I'd put it towards people that are kind of discriminated against.
Homeless. The homeless people?
Yeah.
Maybe they need some homes for them.
Poverty.
Homeless shelters. Homeless.
2 babies that were like born wrong.
My church.
Pope's Closet.
Probably a women's shelter.
A cancer research facility because I know a lot of people who suffer from cancer.
An army foundation.
Yeah.
Just in,
For like the veterans?
Yes.
Yes, that's awesome.
Help other kids have Christmas. I want to give it to all the people in the Holy Road.
And Longview is like, they have a lot of places to eat. We really don't have a lot of places to go and do fun things.
Attractions like water, maybe like a smaller water park or something.
I like to see people like pay more attention to keeping Longview clean.
the littering program to help our community be cleaner.
Stop crime.
Have more opportunities in our schools. If you want to become this kind of person and go into that job, have that kind of class.
Like, you know, Longview seems more of a retirement town. Make it seem like where it can be open to young people.
Giving everyone an opportunity to succeed and providing everyone kind of like the ability to make something of themselves.
The number one thing that would make me stay here is job opportunities. So if whatever I major in is here, I wouldn't mind coming back to Longview.
That's pretty powerful stuff, isn't it? Did you notice how every kid in every age group had appropriate answers for some of those charity questions? Wonderful hearts we're developing here in this community. I think that's so interesting. Wouldn't it be great to have a zip line all over the community? Who wouldn't like a zip line? I think it'd be awesome. Stop here. Yeah. Or a water park, or more attractions, more entertainment. That's what these kids are looking for. Or a wishing well. Who wouldn't want a wishing well? I would. But you know what I love about that whole segment? I love these kids that dream. I love people that dream, because when you dream, then there's something we can look for, something we can attain, a goal we can go to. So I think that's really interesting how they view the community. Obviously, we can't do all these things they mentioned, but what can we do? What is it that we can do as a community? I think one of our biggest challenges is and will continue to be how to make the economy of Longview work for everybody. How do we make it economically attractive for these students and other bright kids like them who want to raise their families here? What do we do to get them to come back? That's the number one question that burns in me every single day. How do we get those kids to come back? I think improving our quality of life and improving the economic opportunities is the key. If we improve quality of life and economic opportunities, then we're giving them the essentials. Then everything else is up to them. But if you don't have the essentials, they're not ever going to even look here. I think that's the most important thing we can do, is provide that opportunity that gives us at least a choice in the running. We got to be in the running. If we're not in the running, then we're out of the game. We're on the sidelines. Put me in, coach. I want to play. How do we continue to diversify our industry? How do we continue to bring high-paying jobs into our community? How do we make sure that our existing industries prosper, that new industries want to grow here? That's a very important question. We have some amazing companies here, and you're sitting in this room right now. We need you. We want you. We want you to grow. We want you to build. We want more. I'm never satisfied with what we have. I want to have more. And so it's important that we look to see, how do we get more? We don't just snap our fingers. You have to do something to make that happen. And that's what we're looking for every day. We look for every opportunity we can to bring people here. I want to commend the efforts of our school districts, our industries in this community, sitting in this room, LEEDCO, and the Chamber of Commerce, who work together to create our East Texas Advanced Manufacturing Academy. I think this is a great example of providing our youth with the opportunity to succeed in this economy. We're going to provide opportunity for these non-college bound kids to stay here in Longview with good paying jobs, with stable jobs. It's probably the most important and significant thing that we've done in this community in many years, because we can make a generational change from a child who gets out of high school with no real future and no opportunity to raise a family and to do the things that they want to do and provide in a manner they want to provide. So with this Manufacturing Academy and people sitting right here are the reason this is here. These kids are going to get out of school, the non-college bound kid, He's going to get out of school with a chance to stay here in Longview and earn a great living and provide for his family and raise a family and be proud. Because I've had these young people who my kids went to school with call me and say, Dr. Mack, I want a better life. I want a better way. What am I going to do? I don't want to be in this gang, but it's only way I can afford to take care of the things I need to be able to take care of, because they don't want to work at McDonald's. Nothing wrong with working at McDonald's, but that's not what they're looking for getting out of high school. They want a job that pays them something they have pride in. And so this is that chance to get in this academy, to learn a trade, to go out and get a job at one of our industries sitting right here in this room that are providing externships for these kids coming out of our program, putting them into a job in our community. That's a win. Because as Keith and Ross said at the end of the video, the number one thing that will make me stay here is job opportunity. So if whatever I'm majoring in is here, I wouldn't mind coming back to Longview. I want him back in Longview. I want that 25% that goes to college to get their degree, get their education. I want them to come back to Longview and come here and be productive members of our society and raise their families here and grow their children here and be proud and stand up here and sit where you are. That's what I want, because that's the future of our community. Our population is growing, but it's growing at a slow pace compared to the rest of booming Texas. Why is that? What do we need to do about that? Do we need to do anything about it? Are we happy where we are? Because once again, I'm not. I can't stand complacency. So in my last conversation with our governor, Governor Abbott, we were talking about influx of people into Texas. And he gave me a statistic that blew my mind. He said there's 1,000 people a day moving to Texas just from California. 1,000 people a day. And he said, and they're going to the big cities. And I said, Greg, how do we get them to our town? He said, it's simple. You got to offer them what they want. I said, well, I think we've got everything that we need. We've got everything that you could ask for in a community. But what we have one thing that most communities don't have. Because here's what he said. These people are influxing into the bigger cities, Austin, Dallas, San Antonio, those big cities. What's going to happen? What are they going to run out of first? Water. Water is a finite resource. These big cities are going to run out of water. They got plenty of land. They can expand as long as they want to outside borders. They can take in land all they want to. But what they can't do is get more water. You know what we have? Water. We have an abundance of water for the next 100 years in our community. We have more than we could ever use, spend, sell, or just throw away. We have an abundance of water. We have to find a way to make our abundance what people want, and that'll bring people to our community, because the big cities don't have it. They're having to go outside and lay pipeline and get water rights, and that's a very, very difficult thing to do. We have it. So what he said, start using your resource and get them to Longview. I said, done. That's what we're going to do. We're going to find ways to make what we have attractive to other people, to make them want to come here to Longview, because we have it. We have everything. We have water. We have rail, which a lot of people don't have rail. Our people to whichever direction we are, starts with a T, they don't have rail. Y'all realize that? We have something they don't have. Yeah. We have an airport that can land any plane, anywhere, anytime, a foreign trade zone. We have land, we have electricity, we have water. We have what we need in Longview to make Longview grow to whatever we want it to grow to. So it's up to us to decide where that project goes and how we get there, but know that we have it, and we're going to work hard to make it a fruition and come to fruition for our community. Because see, this is exactly where I want it to be, where I want to raise my family. There was no other place I would ever go. But I think it's our job, not just my job as a mayor, but all of our jobs, to be working together to make Longview the place where they want to say, yes, I want to bring my family there. I want my family to grow up there. I want to raise my family here. I want to be a part of Longview's future. So in closing, I want to thank each one of you for what you do in our community. Thank you for allowing me to serve as your mayor. As I say, it's a privilege. It's an honor. I don't take it lightly. Also, I want to give special thanks to the very students that came up and helped me and worked with me, and the superintendents that made this all happen for this presentation today. So they have a very special farewell for you.
All right, everyone, this meeting is adjourned.
This meeting is adjourned.
All right. This meeting's adjourned.
This meeting is adjourned.
Alrighty, are we done here? I'm calling this meeting adjourned. I think I broke that.
This meeting is adjourned. This meeting is adjourned.
Seeing that we no longer have any further new business, I now call this meeting adjourned.
Do any of y'all's neck hurt for the little girl that had the huge bow in her hair right here? Her head kept falling off the side. That bow was gigantic. I wanted to go there and move it up for her. I just felt so bad for her. But it's been a privilege, a pleasure. Thank you for the chamber. Thank you to Richard. Thank you to the media staff at Longview City of Longview for putting this together. And I appreciate your attendance. Thank you very much for having me.